This week on the Morning Rock Out, I've got the Black Vultures. Hiya guys, how are you doing today?
Hey, hey,
Hey
hey.
Darren,
All
all good,
right.
thank you, mate. All good.
Good, good. Thanks for joining us here. We've got a lot to talk about. First of all, tell me, let me just back up on that. I found you guys when you did your um, initial debut single, Treat Me Like an Animal. So I know a little bit about you, but for those who don't know about the Black Vultures, someone tell us all about yourselves.
I'll go. The Black Vultures. We've been going for around about 2 years, give or take. Took us a while to sort of bed in obviously all members and sort of make sure we had songs ready to go. Alid's been sort of on sort of second longest, if you like. And then you've got Jace, who I knew anyway, because Jace has been in other bands and things like that that I've known. And Lewis as well was in another very well sort of known local band called Everyday Heroes. So when we sort of had to reach out and get some new members, they were sort of the go-to people I went to really, Jason and Lewis. Yeah, we've been going for about 2 years, give or take. Obviously in slightly different versions, but the version that we got going on at the moment is the newest and most up to date. Perspective, Jason Lewis probably been with us about 2 months, I guess.
Yeah, about 8 weeks in it. Yeah, about
About 2 months, so it's not very long. So it's all sort of knitting together at the moment. But yeah, so, our first single, "Treat Me Like an Animal," was our first debut single, and so that came off the back of Alid sort of sending me a tasty little riff on it, Al,
that. Yeah. I can't
and
remember that.
sort of I
Over the
just sort of developed it a bit then, didn't we? From there,
Yeah, cool.
yeah.
I was going to say members have been in a bit of flux since I first discovered you guys, but we're a little bit more stable now with the four of us, are you?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, no, we're definitely in a better position now than where we were sort of said 2 months ago. But obviously we appreciate that people move on. People want to do new things, different experiences, and they've got sort of life comes first, and some of the cases that previous members have had to deal with some personal stuff, and that's sort of it had to come first before the band, which is understandable.
Yeah. So those of you who out there that haven't heard the Black Vultures, tell them about your sound, what your influences are.
Well, they're different. I know that much. Go on, Al. You may as well go with yours first.
I every time we get asked this, I think we're quite eclectic, very eclectic. I'm a metalhead through and through. Like, I'm more Metallica based. But then we kind of all have the same interests as well, where we can cross over to the same, and we tend to mold ourselves in a lot of that kind of sound. But I think that's what you find with us, that a riff file send who is different to a riff he'd make on his own, but then we make it work in a band collective through our influences. Um, I don't what I'm interested more to find what people hear in us. What would they think we sound like? Like if I ask somebody, what would you say our influences are listening to one of our songs?
Oh, well, it's hard rock, isn't it? You got a bit of AC/DC, Shine Down, that kind of stuff. That's the vibes I get when I'm listening to you.
Yeah,
I think.
and like,
Go on, Al.
oh, I was carry on.
I think that like each single is sort of caught us at a different point as well. Like when we did our first two singles, so "Treat Me Like an Animal," sort of for me, it's got vibes of sort of bluesy rock vibe about, sort of. I think in my head, I had a bit of maybe the Black Keys about that one. And then sort of the next single, "Never Say," was sort of a bit more punk rock sort of orientated, So, like we've said before, doing other interviews that we're quite eclectic, I would say, in the way we sort of write songs and sort of the singles that we've released to date. Because the third single, "Every Part of Me," was maybe a bit more alternate rock, maybe, but again, still rock driven. And then obviously we've got the newest single out now as well, you know, which is again a little bit different again and teetering more on a hard rock vibe. So, but yeah, I mean, musically, I mean, like, you know, sort of, I'm different to Aled. I mean, I'm very much of sort of Queens of the Stone Age, the White Stripes, the Black Keys, that sort of vibe, you know. Whereas I know Jace, for example, is very much sort of like he was listening to something in the car yesterday, and it was sort of he was like, "Oh, let's write a riff like, you know, can you write a riff like these boys or something?" Or was it a priori or what are they called?
I think it was Periphery I was listening to, which are a lot heavier, you know. But my influences, yeah, they run through all sorts of genres, really, from reggae to punk to jazz to rock, drum and bass and jungle, you know. So I grew up listening to all sorts of stuff. But obviously, as the members change and our influences come in, you know, the music kind of evolves with that as well. But obviously, keeping the core of what we are, which is rock, you know. But yeah, some of the songs, like the most recent single, is a lot heavier than the first single, you know, Treat Me Like an Animal. So yeah, it's nice to have a bit of a range of music going on within the album, you know, that we're right in.
Do you think that's going to be a bit of a strength then for the Black Vultures? Everybody liking different things, so you're not just set on one path. You can go from here to there and mix sounds.
Could go either way,
Yeah,
I guess.
Go on,
Could go either way. People could love it or they could hate it, couldn't they? So hopefully they dig it, and hopefully they get a little bit of something different from, you know, sort of the songs that we bring forward and perform. You know, there's like we said before, you know, there's no set agenda. There's no we must sound like this. That's not the vibe. It's like, if we dig a song, then the song lives, and we you know, we breathe that song, and we perform that song, and we sort of engage with it. But nothing's, like I said before, like nothing's off the table really. If I mean, I know Ali's got a riff at the moment that he brings and he's playing, you know, in practice, and sort of that's the way it goes. Everyone will have a bit of an input. We played a new song last night in practice that we sort of we just trialing to sort of get our heads around it and see how it goes. But everyone will have a say on sort of like how it progresses and how we progress as a band. But again, if Jace, because Jace can sing, Jace can play guitar and then instruments himself, and so can Lewis. So if they bring an idea to the table, it doesn't have to be the same sort of, you know, sort of set core, sort of bringing ideas to the table. It could be anyone, and if the song is good, then it'll probably make the EP or the album or the live performances, you know.
Yeah. Talking about, again, different influences, mashup of sounds. That's kind of like how the name came, isn't it? I know you'll have said this like 1,000 times, Hugh, but tell everybody how the name came up.
So initially, you know, again, and I go back to sort of, you know, sort of some of the sort of bands that I was listening to, like sort of more like the sort of desert rock type vibe of things like you know, Black Sabbath, even though it was hard rock as well, and the Black Keys, and you know, big sort of fan of Josh Homme and anything he touches. So them Crooked Vultures, you know, so just sort of binding a couple of those bits and bobs together, the Black Vultures was sort of born, really, you know, and knowing that there's an actual bird as well, the Black Vultures, makes it easier, you know, instead of you making up a breed of birds. So
Yeah,
I sort of dug that as well, you know, and that's yeah. So there's a link there, you know, and ferocious birds, you know, and also as well, I think that it's sort of the name resonates in terms of there's a lot of bands out there doing rock music, you know, and we're all sort of fighting for the same sort of piece of the pie as such, you know, the same audiences, and you know, so there's that scavenger element as well, because it's reality, you know, it's a tough old business, as you know, Darren.
Yeah.
It's a tough old business to crack. So and there's so many artists out there. You see new bands coming in, you know, every week, sort of with new material, and you know, sort of you're all trying to get, you know, sort of make your own path, I guess, for a better term, you know.
Yeah, you've kind of touched on a question I was going to ask, because I asked the the guy who I interviewed last week, what he thought the rock scene was like, how he felt it was. What's your feelings, guys, on the rock scene at the moment, grassroots venues and all that kind of thing?
I think it's a strange one, isn't it? You know, I think there's a big audience still in rock. It's not a dead scene. It might not be as big as it used to be, um, but you know, you got to tour the circuit to get some of these days. And unfortunately, a lot of bands don't have time to tour the circuit as they used to do back in the day. We've got families, we've got jobs. You can't gig 3 times a week. You can't travel to this. All costs money. So, you know, you get stunted in that way. So you got to hope that singles make it, social platforms get you a bit bigger these days and stuff, which is just a harder thing, really. You know, I've always said that if Metallica came out today with Enter Sandman and they were from the valleys in Wales, would it get as big as it ever did? Like, you know, like to think it would because of the quality of the song, but the chances are, the way things are, it probably wouldn't get as big. It would get heard. I still believe that you can get heard if you're a great band. It's just how much time you can dedicate to that to carry on. Venues wise, Wales is quite poor. There's not many established venues in Wales, especially I'm from North Wales and I'm from Snowdonia, and you know, there's nothing up there that's established that, or we have to play that venue. You go towards Buckley that way, you kind of got the Tivoli and stuff, and there's a few places around there. But South Wales, you know, down here we've got the Patriot, which is pretty big, good venue to play. But there's not much, is there? There's not much that you're dying to play. Yeah, if you break Cardiff, the Globe, and see that Black, but you know, that's to get from the level you are grassroots to go to the Globe and stuff. You know, it's bloody impossible, really, unless you get a really good stroke of luck.
Another good venue in the valleys is the Fork and Tune, which we are playing on the 20th of October. I just thought I'd chuck that in.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Going to ask where you're going to be playing later on. But before then, talked about gigging. You've done a few shows since you started, including earlier this year, Crazy Cowboy. How are the shows going down?
We enjoy, yeah. Crazy Cowboy was cool, wasn't it? Obviously, it was Alid and myself for that one, but yeah, that was a really good show. And obviously, you know, you sort of you listen to people's feedback after your show, and I think some people sort of suggested we took the roof off as the opening act. Which is obviously we like to hear that. And a few of them said that really we should have been, well, again, and this is that thing of we should have possibly been further up the list, and we'll take that. Do you know what I mean? Because that must have meant that we went down well. Look, Alid had a couple of technical issues for that show, Al, didn't you? Yeah.
Tell us about that, Alid.
My wireless system cut out in the middle of a song, and I just pulled the plug out, and then I just inputted it straight to my amp on it, and it was fine. But like he said, we set the pace for that gig. It was pretty good, wasn't it? And I mean, it's good when you set a pace and you kind of blow people away when you always kind of expect that first band to be not as good as the other bands they're going to be on. It's kind of that higher order of bands, isn't it? If you go see a show, you expect the first band to kind of make, ooh. But yeah, the feedback we got was basically like, these guys should be playing a bit further on down the line, which is always good to hear. Like,
fantastic. So next year, sure you will be then.
I hope so. Yeah,
well, we hope to go back.
Crossed.
Yeah, you know, Alec's a lovely bloke, and our manager sort of knows him, you know, as well. So we hope to go back next year. We'd love to be invited back. You know, and sort of the venue is cool. 2 different stages. So as one band's playing, the other band is sort of setting up and getting ready to go. So yeah, it was a good crowd. Sold a pile of merch as well. So happy days for us. It was really good.
Brilliant. Pleased to hear that. So you got your new single out. As we record this, it's the 2nd of October. It was on early release sale yesterday. Do you get any stats on anything like that, if it has been picked up yet already?
Well, in fairness, I haven't even checked, if I'm honest, Darren. Because we just because I think socials sort of take over so much for trying to promote bands. It's quite tough to keep up with everything, but like for purchases, and obviously we'll press this to anyone listening, is that for anyone actually buying it, any sort of sales that have actually been generated through purchases, we'll donate that money to Macmillan Cancer.
Right, yeah.
Because of the pertinent nature of the song and the sort of the
Yeah.
meaningful nature. So,
Yeah.
I know there's not a lot of money in sort of the purchasing element these days. But again, if anyone's listening and they feel that they enjoy the song and would like to contribute to Macmillan, then obviously every purchase made, we'll donate the purchases to Macmillan.
Yeah. I know I'm old school, so I like to buy my music still. So I would buy it, and it's very good that it's going to a worthy cause as well.
Absolutely.
And
yeah, absolutely.
and then it's out streaming on Friday. So when people are listening to this and watching it, it'll be out already on the usual streaming platforms. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on everything. So yeah, we upload through DistroKid, and it'll be on Spotify, Amazon, or iTunes, all of them. It'll be on everything you can find it on. So please, please, please give it a spin. Hopefully you enjoy it, and yeah, give us some feedback. Find us on socials and give us a like and a follow if you can.
Fantastic. And as you alluded to, it has something to do with what Macmillan do, because I assume I understand it's inspired by your previous basis and what he was going through and his mum was going through with cancer. That's right, yeah. And can you tell me more
Yeah.
about that?
So our previous bassist, Mitch, he was sort of really going through the mill a little bit because he had, obviously he came and told us that sort of, and I think he kept putting the messages as well, just saying that his mum had been diagnosed with cancer. So I just remember the sort of some of the words that Mitch was using at the time, some of the language he used in as well, and I remember at the time, where he was at in his life. I mean, he packed in work. This is how big of a thing it was. He packed in work to try and help look after mum and help dad support his mum, etc. So it was just a really sort of, really uncertain time when she started going through, her therapy and different treatments. So I remember at the time Alice sent me the riff. Alice sent me the riff that we've used in the song, and I was like, it just felt right. It just sort of felt that it's sort of, just that overwhelming sort of feeling of uncertainty and unease, and it just sort of felt right to put into a song for Mitch, and his mum, and that's how it was born. There's no ulterior motive. It was literally, it just felt right.
Yeah.
And hopefully the lyrics resonate. If people read the lyrics and listen to the lyrics, because we love people to sort of see the sorts of things we're talking about and singing about, in the song. Just that element of uncertainty and sort of personal sort of feeling and what you would do for somebody you love.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, because I played it on the show and listened to the lyrics, and yeah, definitely very poignant. Totally agree with that. So we've this is the fourth single that you've released. Going to do an album, EP? Any plans on that?
So on that note, our EP. So we've made the order for EPs. We've got one more single we're recording. We're back in with a guy called Chris Pete, a local producer in Crumlin at North House Studios, and he's done the last two singles for us. We're in with him on the 20th of October to record Nowhere to Run, Nowhere to Hide, which is going to be our fifth single. That'll be added to the EP, and then we're going to have physical sales of an EP, 5-track EP. We're playing Planet Rockstock 30th November, and we're hoping that they will be ready for physical sale on that day.
Oh,
That's
brilliant.
the plan. That's the plan. And the EP, we're going to go with the name Death Valley because local to us, local, first of all, with the Black Vultures, so it makes sense.
That's what
But
I was
also
thinking.
as well, but there's a local place called the Scenic Drive in a place called Cwmcarn, which is where we're playing soon, as you mentioned, as Jace mentioned earlier on. It's called the Scenic Drive, and years ago, the Scenic Drive was known as Death Valley because apparently the story is that back in the day, should we say, there was a lot of sort of armies coming over and killing local people and stuff. So it was at that time referred to as Death Valley. So I thought that was quite pertinent for a local band as well.
Definitely. So I look forward to that. I have heard in previous interviews with you, Hugh, and Alid, talk of a single that was going to be a third single, Notorious. Is that going to happen, or what's the story behind that?
Notorious has kind of fell off the radar a bit at the moment, ironically. I think since Jason Lewis came in, and we've kind of set a different. I think all our songs kind of have this kind of core rock thing, but then different, because unfortunately we've gone through two bassists, three bassists since I've been in there now. I've been there 2 years this December. It'd be three bassists, three drummers, and the sounds change as they go along. And since Jason Lewis, and because Jason Lewis are kind of more like me and Hugh, I think we've just set the standard of what the songs are sounding like at the moment. And then we've got this really good set list that kind of flows. And Notorious just hasn't. We talked about it the day, ironically, did we, Notorious, when I mentioned songs, didn't we? But it's kind of a lot of songs that me and Hugh used to play probably won't come back into the thing because they just don't go with what we're currently playing. And like the new riff we played last night, like Hugh said, will flow in a set better than Notorious would anyway. They might make a comeback. I don't know. But
I think it's what I think it could come back depending on if we're scratching for material or something, maybe. Like, I think where we're going at the moment, we're definitely sort of at, like, I would say we're definitely going towards slightly more of a harder rock vibe with an alternate twist at times, but I think that maybe Notorious was, it was rock, it was alternate. It could feature back. I said, I wouldn't rule it out, as Alid said, but I think where we're going at the moment, we're probably going a little bit harder than where that song's at, if that makes sense.
Right, yeah. I get you now. That's fine. So we might hear it in the future, might not.
Like the next single will be a ripper, as an example.
Right.
The next song will tear it up, It's really, it's really, it's sort of got hard rock, Velvet Revolver type vibes about it, and stuff like that. So it's really cool, But again, till we get it recorded and it's finished, sort of, and then we get it released. Then we look forward to hearing what people say about it. But we're definitely going down a slightly harder rock route at the moment, I would say. I think everyone would agree with that as well.
Volumes for us, really, that I think there's about 3 songs that we used to play live that got good receptions that we're even dropping now, like, so it kind of shows that we got a good back catalogue and things we can go to. But the fact that we drop at least 2 great songs speaks volumes for the songs we're writing now, and the power behind the songs we're writing now, really. So if we're glorious and there's another 1 or 2, then I think it speaks volumes for how strong our set actually is.
Good. Yeah, I've not seen you live yet, guys. Here I am in the East Midlands of England, and you're over in Wales, but I'm sure we will meet up sometime. Talking of live gigs, and you mentioned you're going to do Planet Rockstock, and you mentioned another gig you're doing. Just round us up what your gigs are in the near future.
Go on, Jace. You may as well say about the Cwmcarn show because you want to say it. Go on.
Oh, that's right. It was Jason who said it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was me who said plug the fork and chew. So on the 25th of October, we have a local gig in an amazing venue. It's recently been renovated into kind of a nice rock, into a nice open sort of area. So get lots of people in there, real good vibe. The decor's amazing, so it'll be a real good atmosphere in here. There's another 4 bands on with us, but obviously the Black Vultures are the ones to come and see.
Of course.
We've on our socials. There is a link to it. If you want to come and check us out and have a good night, then check us on our socials, the Black Vultures. And that's on the 25th of October.
We're actually playing with 3 other bands, which is Doomsday Outlaw, Austin Gold, and a band called Tusk. They're traveling from way up north to come down to Wales to play with us. So we're really looking forward to it. And we would love to sell that show out for the traveling bands. Then we got 17th of November. We're playing Ilfracombe Rocks Festival in North Devon. 30th of November, then we're on for Planet Rockstock down in Trecco Bay in Porthcawl. big up to John Norman for giving us the opportunity on that as well, because he's been immense for it. So thank you very much, John. And then next year, we've got a few things lined up. You said Midlands. So we're playing. Where are we playing? Where's Savfest? Where's that?
Colville, is it?
Savfest? Where's that?
Oh, Savfest. I've heard of it, but I'm not sure whereabouts it is in the country.
Leicestershire, I think it is. Is it Victoria? Yeah. Victoria Motorcycle Club or something? Victoria.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. If it's Leicestershire, that's great. Leicester. I'm Lincolnshire, so it's only about an hour away. So I'll definitely see there if it's that close for sure.
Savfest, check it out. And then we're up to Blackpool 1st of March next year for Love Live Festival, run by Solid Entertainments. Again, big shout out to Richard Saville and Steve for inviting us to that one. What else we got on next year? Tribute Takeover we're playing in Kent as well. That's a new festival, by the way, so big up to everyone involved with that, Richard Ockenden, etc. I think we've got a few other bits and bobs, but we're just waiting to reveal those, shall we say, Darren?
Lovely. But as Jason says, keep the eye on the socials, Facebook and that. Are you on X as well? Or is it just Facebook?
We're Facebook and Instagram at the moment, and we're on YouTube and obviously all the music platforms, etc. I think that'll do for us at the moment.
Cool. So look out for the socials, as Jason says, for those live dates, and also when this goes out on YouTube, there'll be links in the description of those dates, as well as a link to the new single, which is called again. Tell us, guys. Remind everybody what the single's called.
Can't Let You Go.
And as everybody's listening to this or watching it, it is out now.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Buy it, stream it, share it, repeat.
Brilliant. And looking forward to an EP in the future. And you mentioned a couple of times Alad has got a killer riff that is forming at the moment, and I can see a guitar there. Alad, any chance you could play us that riff?
No, unfortunately, it's not plugged in there.
I'm sure it'll come across.
Don't know if you can hear it. Is it which one is it? The one I played last night? Is it?
Yeah. We talked about that a couple of times.
You can hear this.
Yeah, no, unfortunately not.
No. That's sad.
I'm gutted now. I wanted to hear that.
What's the point in having a guitar not plugged in, Al? Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I usually play the acoustic in the house.
Always get told off by the other half.
I do, yeah, unfortunately.
Well, guys, thanks very much for joining us here on Morning Rock Out on the Crew Rock Radio. Best of luck with the single, guys, and the album coming out, EP coming out, and your little tour, and whatever's coming up next year. Can't wait to see you live. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks, Darren. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time and having us on.
They say that the forecast is going to change, but right now it's hard to see the sun.